Just days after a new ceasefire deal was agreed in Libya, the nation's foreign minister says international forces are to blame for the failure to find a solution to the conflict. I sat down with him in his first interview since the deal was brokered in Paris by French President Emmanuel Macron. The 6-year conflict following the fall of Muammar Gaddafi has dragged Libya into chaos, with rival forces vying for control of the country. But the ceasefire has provided a glimmer of hope, as leaders of the two main factions, Fayez el-Sarraj and General Khalifa Haftar, agreed to try to work together and hold elections next year. But at the start of my interview with Foreign Minister Mohamed Taha Siala, I pointed out that many other ceasefires have failed in the past and asked him how this one will be any different.
I hope that it's going to run. I think there is a will when they start these meetings. There is a preparation meeting in Abu Dhabi before that. And there is a lot of preparation, other meetings with the advisors and the consultants. And at the end, we have this declaration with the 10 points, 10 very, very important points. They are basic for a peace agreement, the unity of the state, and then that the military command will work under the supervision of a political command. And then it is a civilian democratic state, and that the process of reconciliation will continue, and we are trying to accommodate almost everybody. So I think I am optimistic.
Do you have a timetable for elections yet? Do you know when they might be?
No, the timetable when it comes to election, because at the end this will be just a preparatory work, and then we will go for election, both for the president and for the parliament. And it was agreed that this maybe happened within the beginning of next year, March, April.
It's good to hear that you're optimistic, because it's such a complex situation in Libya. So many different armed groups on the ground. How can you be sure that they will fall into line when nobody has any real control over them now?
No, I'm having, when I said that I'm optimistic, I'm having in mind the international community, the Security Council, the United Nations, the neighboring countries. All those are putting some pressure on the parties to come to a solution.
But
it's
one of the key players...
The people in Libya cannot afford waiting more than 7 years. I mean,
absolutely.
It is short of liquidity in the banks. It's the problem of security. It's a problem. I mean, they cannot afford waiting more.
Libya needs a solution, that's beyond doubt. But General Haftar has said, and he said shortly after that Paris agreement, that he didn't care about elections and that any ceasefire may be temporary.
Mm-hmm. It depends on the other parties, and we are depending on the pressure will be put in by the United Nations and Security Council. And you know that there is a new envoy to the area. This is Dr. Fayyad, with a good experience, and he's willing. And we need just the international community to help him.
How important is it to make this deal work, not only for the people of Libya, but also because General Haftar has such a power base in the east of the country? How important is it to make a deal which will end that grip on power?
I think if he starts the processing of uniting the army, then we can break through, because the army is not existing only in the east. There is another army in the west and the south. And if you are speaking about a country, there must be one army unified, and then all the weapons must come. Only would be in the hands of the military people.
See, this has been the huge challenge for Libya, because
it is a challenge.
The government of national...
But it's not impossible. It is a challenge.
Well, the government of national accord was formed in 2015. It had the backing of the UN, but it has been unable to bring unity. Why not?
Why not? Simply because there are some obstacles. There are some countries putting their hands within our country. It's not the Libyans who failed to have the solution, they failed simply because there are a lot of penetration from outside.
Foreign interference?
Yes, foreign interference. There is, I mean, it's money coming in, it's weapons, it's... there is a good sign now because after this Paris Agreement, the Committee of the Constitution, who's preparing the draft of the Constitution, they finalized their work. They signed with a majority of 43 from 44. So this is promising as well. I think we have to put this to the referendum to the people. And this is a good sign, isn't it?
Do you think that there's a role for, I mean, what would be the role of General Haftar post-elections?
For the time being, he's chosen by the parliament as a commander-in-chief for the military. And if he wants to govern the country, simply he has to put himself in the election. Yeah.
So you talk about foreign interference. What kind of help and support do you need from foreign powers now? And are you seeing that kind of support that you need?
I think there is a little bit shift from those putting obstacles and helping some parties. There is a little improvement. They stopped that. There is no weapons coming in the country anymore. The same for financing. It stopped. So I think Egypt is doing a lot of work now in favor of the solution.
Because Egypt, UAE, Russia, they were all supporting General Haftar.
They are sitting with some parliament people from Misrata and some from the military people as well from Misrata, and they are trying to convince some people who are putting some obstacles vis-a-vis the solution. So this is what we need.
Okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, the chaos has allowed Daesh to gain a foothold in Libya. There have been successful attempts to battle them. What's your assessment of what the situation is with Daesh at the moment?
Of course, I mean, we witnessed a case of a failed country in the last 5 years, and because of that, Daesh, while they are receiving a tough attack in Syria and Iraq, they thought there would be a good haven for them in our country, and they jumped in Sirte. But the Libyans, they succeed to get them out of this.
They're out
city.
of Sirte?
Yeah,
are they?
It doesn't mean that it is the end.
I was going to say.
Yeah, simply because some of them are scattered around the desert. You know, it's a very, very vast desert. And we have a border, we have 4,000 kilometers and 2,000 facing the Mediterranean. Altogether, it is 6,000 kilometers, our borders. Sometimes you need the army of China to control it. So simply they are scattered here and there, and but our people are following them. Our border with Algeria is completely sealed. With Egypt, it's sealed as well, and there is a small problems vis-a-vis Chad, Niger, and Sudan. Sudan as well, they are sealing their border now, and you know that there is also, I mean, the Europeans, they are, because of the migration, they are.
Yeah. I'll ask you about the refugees in a moment.
Concerned, so they are doing a lot of effort in the Sahel area. This is in Mauritania, in Mali, in Chad, Niger.
And just on the subject of Daesh, it was a huge victory for Libyan forces to get Daesh out of Sirte. One of the things this Paris deal does is allow both sides to carry on fighting terrorists even when there's a ceasefire in place between them. How big a problem are the terrorists? I mean, you say that there are still scattered pockets of them around. How big a problem is this for Libyan security?
Now Tripoli is very secure. It wasn't before, and so the area where there is a good security is enlarging, and the other areas where there is a problem as security is concerned, they are shrinking, and this is I think this is very good. And
is Libya getting help in the fight against terrorists?
Yes, we are getting help. We are getting help, and we are getting help as well from the European Union. And almost the Sofia operation is sealing our border with the Mediterranean. It's completely sealed. They started with phase 1, where they are just controlling the weapons coming in, and then it is developed for the migration, and then it's completely sealed, and they are doing a lot of effort vis-a-vis capacity building for our Coast Guard.
But that hasn't stopped the immigration problem, though, has it? There are still many people trying to get out of Libya.
You cannot stop it. This phenomenon started from the presence of humanity on the planet. You cannot stop it, but you can reduce it. You reduce the negativeness side of it, but we are not expecting that it is the end of this phenomenon. You know, many countries are built on this phenomenon. So we are trying to eliminate the negative side of it, and we use it to accommodate some of those migrants. When we have our development scheme, they are looking for work, and they find their work. So they are not creating any problem.
Do you feel that Libya is unfairly criticised by the EU for not doing more to stop the flow of refugees? Because, of course, it's Europe that ends up with all these tens of thousands of people flooding onto their shores.
Actually, we started negotiating a frame agreement with the European Union from 2007. It took us 3 years. I remember 10 rounds in Brussels and in Tripoli. And we are not sharing the same idea vis-a-vis the migration. They believe that we can stop them, and we have to stop them in our local waters, and we have to take them back to our country, which was not the solution. We told them that the solution must consist of 3 or 4 principles. First of all, you have to help us to protect our southern borders by putting a network, electronic network, in the border, some helicopters and some land cruisers. So you protect them jumping in. This is the first case. Second, you have to help those countries of resource for a development scheme, small and medium-sized projects, so you create more job for them, so their youth would not be even thinking to immigrate. And now they are helping. I mean, after the visit of Gentiloni, before he jumped in as a prime minister, he visited West Africa, and he's speaking the same language as we did. And now they are financing a development scheme in Niger of $50 million. The same for Chancellor Berg when she visited Mali, speaking the same language. So now they start speaking the same idea how we can solve the problem.
And of course,
they tried in Sofia. The third phase, they want to jump in our territory, in our waters. So if they caught them, they return them to Libya. And we told them this is impossible.
If the Paris deal works, that could, we hope, bring stability to Libya. Stability in Libya would go a long way towards solving the refugee crisis, wouldn't it?
Yes. You cannot solve the problem without security in Libya, simply because when it started only some problem in some pockets, but now it is around, and then there is organized crime as well, and they are financing terrorism from the proceeds from the migrants themselves. They are getting a lot of money. The estimation of the United Nations that this is around $1 billion. So they are financing terrorism for migration, and some of the immigrants, illegal immigrants, they are converted to Daesh. So it's.
Do you think that was one of the goals of Emmanuel Macron when he brokered this deal between Mr. Sarraj and
Sure. There are a lot of signs. First sign started when they reactivated their airbase in north Niger in Madama. That base was silent since 20 years, and then now they are reactivated, simply to control the movement of migrants. Yeah, they are trying to do a lot of effort. They are helping the Sahel countries now, both financially and building capacity.
Well, there's certainly going to be a lot of people watching closely to see what happens in Libya now. Thank you very much indeed for speaking with us. Thank you.